Hey, so I was talking about the theory behind Korean's healing, and the primacy of energy to the existence of substance in the form of matters. So when there's any illnesses that occurs in the body, right, especially chronic conditions, we're not talking about cut or injury, which is clearly causing damage, like in matter by matter, right? We're talking about like illnesses that develop seriously, incrementally over the years, like cancer, diabetes, autoimmune problem. Now, what we're conceptualizing it right now is that because like behind or within matter, if you take it all the way down to the subatomic level, where the actual substance of matter exists, all you can see is wave, right? Is waves of energy. Matter is just very densely packed energy with a sort of very predictable and organized structure to them, right? So, and these waves, just like light wave, sound wave, what they actually contain is information. Right? So if you drop a pebble into the water, it ripples out. If you have multiple stones drop in the water, those ripples interfere with each other, and the waves, the interference of the wave, create a whole new wave, a new coherence that, if you were able to freeze those water into ice instantly, the information from the wave pattern that get captured could actually be used to deduce backward the shape of a stone or the pebble that got dropped into it. So it is like matter actually exists as information within waves. Right? And then when you change the information in the waves, the matter start to follow. Now, I think that's the rationale behind Dr. Joe's healing work. First of all, when people change their lives, right? When they change, for example, the chronic shame issues or the guilt or the addictions, let's say, or a long-term problem with, setting boundaries, protecting their own energies, which is causing a lot of anxiety and fear and angst and frustration. All of these emotions that get repeatedly brought up in our body actually create a form of stress that locks the matter in a certain energetic state of or energetic frequency of vibrations. And in the nature of how life works, and tends to work in cycles, disease usually observed to go only in one direction, right? It worsens over time, and if you're only intervening at it with matter, with pharmacological agents, with diet, with exercising, you're only changing matter with matter, and the information doesn't change, right? You might be able to suppress your symptoms, but in a lot of cases, it's come back. Or actually, they always come back unless there's an energetic change. But when people change their lives, I'm not talking about lifestyles, but their actual life, right? Their outlook to life, the attitude, the behaviors, the response to new responses to new old situations, the beliefs, the subconscious and unconscious feeling, the emotions that had not been resolved. What happened is there's an arising of a new being, right? And that's why the saying, and that goes to saying that, when a person become a new person, the exists of the old person, so the illness of the old person could no longer exist in the new body. Right? So that's how the healing occurs, right? When people sort their lives out because they've been doing the meditation every day, they're confronting their emotions. When emotions get brought up, they let go of the old ways, and they have a knock-on effect on the way they handle their lives, their relationships, and the way and the meaning that they follow or try to create in life. It creates a cascading effect all the way down to the matter, and that's how You know, if you change fast enough and you outpace the illness progression, you actually get to heal yourself. You actually get to heal yourself, right? But if you're just attacking it with matter, like with chemo, with immunosuppressants, and they get more desperate and afraid and alone and disgruntled and anxious, actually you're hastening the stuckness, the stagnations of that energetic structure of illness, and you're making it worse, right? Energetic progressions of illness, should I say? So we're talking about sort of healing in from a whole new paradigm, and from a whole new perspective, actually. And that's why a lot of the things that are traditionally thought to be impossible to change actually change by action, attention, and intentions of people changing their own lives. Now, that's miraculous enough as it is, but when you subject the person to a coherence healing where 8 people surrounding the person tuning into a very, very deep meditative state in which they lose the sense of self, right? They go into the void in the subjective sense, which is actually the doorway into the quantum, right? You suddenly have access to a very fast energy, right? Because you no longer exist as an individual. You are really kind of losing your sense of self. And if you apply your intention there, you're actually creating from the potential of the field. So the energy very rapidly reorganized because that's the place where it all comes from. And when you have 8 people together, the field interfere with each other and create a new reality that is sometimes instantly observable. So today we just have been having all this like really crazy healing. And as a healer, I started like shaking on both days very, very quickly, right? Like as soon as I sat down and on the chair after the meditation where we all tune into this nothingness. And on the first day, I was very touched. You know, I had glimpses of vision of how we are all, 3D fragment of a whole totality of the universal being, God, or the quantum field. And on the second and third day, though, like I started having these energetic processes during the offering, the delivery of the healing for the person in front of me. They were very strong. Like I shake, I ride, I cried, and energy was coming in. My hands are getting hot, and the first day I had moments when I wasn't doubting anymore, having seen all of this happening right before my eyes and the scientific evidence from thousands of people. But I had expectations. I keep feeling, I keep thinking, oh, maybe I should have an explosive reaction in my heart, or I should have a very strong emotional experience. But despite all these tears and commotion, I didn't have any emotional experience. Right? But today I knew I need to take a new approach, because every time I have expectation, my thoughts come in. That's my ego operating again. And I risk pulling myself back into the 3 dimensions or 3-dimensional space and actually compromising the healing effects for the person in front of me. So I dropped the last vestige of the ego today and said to myself, I am going to just follow whatever happens. So it happens, and as soon as I put the hands out, the shaking stopped. I feel the person's field of energy, and everything happened. The entire group starts shaking in almost like a perfect synchrony. And the guys lying in the middle started sobbing. And he talked about having like very, very strong body reaction, right? He was like riding and slithering on the spot like a snake. And what was interesting is